Hello, every Wasteland buddy, and welcome to, as I promised, the install video for Tale of Two Wastelands, which is actually pretty damn easy. So first of all, obviously you're going to want to go to the Tale of Two Wastelands site. Which is... Why are you acting up? I may need to reboot after this stream before I actually do a gaming stream. And the gaming stream will not be a Tale of Two Wastelands gaming stream, because I'm still tinkering with that. And so before we go into the game, I want to make sure I understand everything, like converting mods to Tale of Two Wastelands, which is technically it's converting Fallout 3 mods to Fallout New Vegas mods. But there's the added wrinkle of that you need to actually have all of the ESMs for both of the games and Tale of Two Wastelands selected, so that actually the game will work. Well, I mean, it's all very complicated. I mean, if you're adding like a companion, in theory, all you'd really have to do is convert them into a New Vegas mod. But the thing here is, if you don't make it basically a Tale of Two Wastelands mod, then just converting it straight over to New Vegas will mean that you'd have to move the companion from Fallout to someplace in the Mojave Wasteland. While if you just do a conversion as a TTW, then they can stay where they were in the Capital Wasteland. So that's kind of the added wrinkle. Armors will be the same thing. If you don't do a conversion, then if you just do a New Vegas conversion, then obviously you have to find a place to spawn it, a place to put it in the Mojave Wasteland. If you do it as a Tale of Two Wastelands conversion, then you can leave its spawn locations as those in the Capital Wasteland, and so on. Obviously, more complex mods, best leave it to the mod creators to make their own conversions. I know Eve has a conversion, and yeah, it's just generally, it's an added wrinkle. You either are going to have to do a Tale of Two Wastelands conversion so that it properly puts everybody in their initial starting places, or you're going to have to do a proper New Vegas conversion. So we'll not cover that just yet. We're focusing on the actual install of Tale of Two Wastelands, which, as I said, is a pretty simple process. So of course you're going to want to go to the Tale of Two Wastelands website and download its files. As of today, which is 4/17/2015, the alpha download version is 2.8.1a. And if you look here, scroll down, yada yada yada, bee boo, the actual download link itself, which I will include on the YouTube page in its description, so don't worry about that. But it's simply a matter of going to, alpha download. That said, once you've read through or not read through, and you're just using my video, you'll see down here the file attachment. Now there's also what you're going to want on the main page, Tale of Two Wastelands official fixes. Wow, not talking today, am I? And again, I'll provide direct links because there are 3 bug fixes you're going to want to download as well. Don't worry, I will provide you a link in the description to get those 3 bug fix files. But you're going to want those. You're going to want the master file for Tale of Two Wastelands. There it is, hot fixes, right at the bottom of the alpha download. You will please download and install this file, and this file. You just throw them in the same directory. And you're going to want... No, not that. My tabs are acting up, sorry folks. to grab this, the INI tweaks for Mod Organizer. Just throw them all into the same folder. Now, of course, that doesn't mean much, because first, once we download the alpha download, it's actually an installer file. And once you've downloaded it, just put it wherever you want to run the installer. Not that one. Let me scroll up and find it. Open in a new window. So once you've downloaded the installer folder, which actually comes as a zip, you're downloading a zip file. That zip file unpacks into this. The hot files just come as ESPs. The INI tweaks, again, is going to be its own zip file you have to unpack. But once you have gotten Tale of Two Wastelands unpacked, you're going to have this lovely, lovely installer. Double click it. It's going to say it's going to try and smart find your Fallout 3 folder, your Fallout New Vegas folder. Just go and fix those if it doesn't auto find them. You again want to go for the main directory in Steam. So for me, that's Fallout 3 Game of the Year under my E drive, Steam Apps, Common, Fallout 3. If you're doing this on a single computer on a single main hard drive, then obviously for you it would probably be C, Steam. Well, actually yours would probably be C, Program Files, Steam Apps, Common, Fallout 3. C, Program Files, Steam Apps. You get the idea. You want to find your two main folders where the executables and where literally the executables are. And then you want to say, where do I want to put my new combined files? And honestly, you can put it anywhere you want, because you're going to want to do a little. Because once it's done, you want to do some manual stuff. So pick wherever you want to send your files to be your main mod folder, and click install. Now, I could do this on camera, but I know from experience, and I already did this, that it will take about 10 to 15 minutes, and I really don't think you want to sit here for 10 to 15 minutes watching a progress bar. So, now I will mention this. When it gets to the end, and this isn't game breaking, so if you don't follow my instructions, if you forget, it's no big deal at all. But it's going to eventually come up with a prompt saying, do you want to install the FOMOD files? Say no. I said yes. Easiest thing in the world to fix. Do not worry whatsoever. So once it's finished installing and creating your directory, you're going to end up with obviously the Tale of Two Wastelands folder and two files within it. For me, it was called main files and optional files. And if I opened up optional files, it'd be a FOMOD. There was a FOMOD folder in here. Because like I said, I selected FOMOD, just delete it. Move it right there. No trouble whatsoever. Similarly, main files, it had a FOMOD folder in there and a couple of FOMOD files in there. But when you open up main files, now you'll notice what I did was I actually renamed it, because what you're going to do is once you've got your main files and your optional files, you're just going to throw them into your mods folder for Mod Organizer Nevada, Fallout New Vegas. Remember that Tale of Two Wastelands is, for all intents and purposes, a mod of Fallout New Vegas. It will not work in Fallout 3. It is, and under all the hood, under all of the complexity of it, under all the coolness of it, it is a Fallout New Vegas mod. Which means that it needs to be put into the Fallout New Vegas folder. Which also means that when you're downloading mods for it, that Fallout New Vegas mods will work pretty much out of the box without any issues. Fallout 3 mods need a little bit of love. That said, once you've got it there, drop into your mods folder. As you can see, my mod organizer folder here is just all of my normal stuff. I put all my downloads on a separate drive, so we go here, Tale of Two Wastelands. Main files, optional files. As you can see, what the primary content of the main files is your Fallout 3 BSAs and ESPs, or rather ESMs. And one thing you'll really notice kind of interesting is that these things are called Fallout 3 menu voices, so on and so forth. Because if we go into our lovely, lovely world of Fallout 3 or New Vegas, if you look over here, this is Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition. You'll notice that, for example, sound, BSA, MISC, menu voices, those are prefaced by Fallout 3. If I go and look at New Vegas data, it's got the exact same name. So that's why you have to run the installer, because it needs to rename those files, and of course those files have to be paired with the those files, those renamed files, are what's already built into the coding of the ESM file for Tale of Two Wastelands. So it's very important that you get these names right, which is why you run the installer, and it does all the work for you. All it's really doing is copying these things over, just straight up copies this over, renames it so that it's properly matched with the Tale of Two Wasteland needs. Pretty simple. I really wouldn't advise you doing it manually. You're not going to run into any problems. Like I said, if you do click the FOMod button, just delete the FOMod folders when you're done. Do not stress yourself out about it, folks. So now that you've got the Tale of Two Wastelands in your mods folder, well then, wow, my voice just cracked like I was half the age I am now. Then you just go into New Vegas Mod Organizer, just like normal. And that's really about it. You find it in your mod list, tick it, do the same thing with the optional files. Make sure that it's got the INI files in here. I manually put the INI files into my INI here, mainly because when I was testing it, it was crashing at launch. The video should be up on YouTube before this, showing the actual test run of it. And the reason the main reason I poured it in there, and the main reason it was crashing, was because Mod Organizer has a bit of a weirdness. When you select a new thing like this, sometimes it doesn't select all of the archives. So you're going to want to, once you've ticked these two and made sure that these items here are all ticked, and of course, like I said, all you have to do is take those hotfixes, drop them in the main files. That's it. No more work. Similarly, the INI tweaks, just drop them in there. Just drop the INI tweaks folder, because with the way Mod Organizer works is if it sees an INI tweaks, INI file, it'll just overwrite the relevant stuff in the normal Fallout INI, Fallout default INI. But yeah, just make sure that after you've ticked these two on, and you've ticked on all of the important things here, that you go over here and make sure that all of the BSAs are selected. Because if you, well, here's a perfect example. Look, Tale of Two Wastelands main, these are not actually ticked. Because I was tinkering around and trying and switching between profiles, these got unticked. So if I were to run NVSE, it will crash at launch. Because it's trying to load assets that it does not have access to. Well, actually, it's not crashing right now. Probably because before when I did it, I didn't even have the New Vegas BSAs loaded. But I assure you, if you tried to travel to the Mojave Wasteland, it would crash. I mean, the Capital Wasteland. It would crash pretty brutally on you. In fact, I probably shouldn't have closed that because I could show you guys what will happen. Because I do have my test save, which it has my core year in the Capital Wasteland. So let's just go through, let this thing finish loading the load screens. And you'll see it's actually locking frame rates. Those of you who were here for the earlier show will know that I was actually running about 80 frames per second in my initial test. Because I wasn't even running the New Vegas stutter remover. I know, crazy. This is actually from the optionals. The optionals has one option that changes the menus. So let's see, if I go and load the Capital Wasteland, we should get a pretty severe crash.
Mouth of your president. John Henry Eden, straight to your heart. No evil can result from its inhibition more pernicious than its toleration.
It actually survived. Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. Those of you who are here for my Fallout playthrough will know that I can never get the radio to work, not even Enclave radio to work, because the music, for some reason, when running through the Fallout 3 engine, was just all stuttery. It wasn't staticky. It wasn't like I was getting the low signal quality you get with GRA. No, any radio, even Enclave radio, which is supposed to come in perfectly smooth and clear, was all kind of juddery and stuttery. So I just never could listen to the radio. I could listen to the radio in-game. Jukeboxes would work just fine, but the Pip-Boy? Nope. Anyway, that said, you want to make sure all of these are ticked. Because yes, while we were able to load into the Capital Wasteland, I assure you, that's probably because I have somewhere up here, if I were to look, I'd see the Fallout 3 meshes and all that things. But I assure you, if we didn't have them all selected, if we missed one of them, then you'd run into some problem. Whatever wasn't selected, like for example, here's Tale of Two Wastelands. It's got its own variations on those. So like if we were to do, like for example, if we missed, I don't know, the pit, then we wouldn't be able to go to the pit because the pit assets wouldn't be there. Because that's what this area is. This is all of the assets the game uses. So just make sure they're all selected. Make sure all the plugins you have here are selected. Now keep in mind that New Vegas does have its own limitations. You do still have the hard cap of 255 mods, but New Vegas really doesn't like you going. New Vegas has reported issues with NVSE has reported issues that you have over 135 ESPs or ESMs, then the game starts to suffer for it. And when you consider how many files are in the actual Tale of Two Wastelands, because remember, ESPs and ESMs count the official stuff. So when you count all these things up, you get about, and including all of the optionals, you get to about 30 files, which means that you're pretty much limited to adding a horribly limiting 105 mods. Yeah, I know, it's pretty sad. You can only have 105 additional mods on top of Tale of Two Wastelands. Now, I can manage 107 because 2 of the optional ESPs I'm not running, but, I mean, I just don't know what I'm going to do when I'm limited to 105 mods. Of course, I'm joking. You know I'm joking. But you get the idea, is that you are limited by an additional 30 mods. It's about, let's see here. Optional files. So the optional files consist of a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. So as an additional 11 mods, the hotfixes add another 3. So that's 14 mods. And now obviously when they build, now I've already spoken to the developers and they said that when they build the next version of Tale of Two Wastelands, the 3 hotfixes will be bundled into it, so that will mean that those things will not count towards your mod count limit. Also, one of the mods here in the optional files is, according to its own description here, let's see. DC Reputation. The DC Reputation system here, very early beta, needs testing, use at your own risk, implements reputation into factions in the Capital Wasteland, will be integrated into TTW, but is currently being tested. The reputation system also includes, according to, and again, I spoke to the developers, but don't harass them on it, because I don't know when the next version is coming out. I'm simply telling you what's going to be in the next version. It's going to be this, the reputation system, and the reputation system also includes armor factioning, which means that yes, you'll be able to disguise yourself as members of alternate factions in the Fallout factions by wearing the Fallout armor. No big deal. Just like you can in New Vegas. So that's one of the optional mods, 3 hotfixes that'll be merged into the next version, which brings you down from 14 mods to 11 additional mods on top of the Tale of Two Wasteland stuff, which gives you another, obviously, 4 additional mod slots, which means that if you're running with everything enabled, then instead of being limited to 105, you'd be limited to 109. Now, yes, in theory, if you really wanted to, you could just do mod merging of all of these, but seriously, folks, I think you'll be fine with 105 mods. If you really needed to merge stuff, merge the other 105 mods, but, I mean, I get it. I honestly get it. You know, I'm not ragging on anyone. I know that sometimes the mods that you want to install are just tiny little fixes, like the Ranger neck cover that Gopher made, and just like there's just like a ton of tiny little mods. Merge those tiny little mods. That's what I do all the time. But don't sweat the small stuff, people. Don't sweat the small stuff. You've got Tale of Two Wastelands installed. And that's really all there is to it, folks. 21 minutes. We're done. We've installed Tale of Two Wastelands, got the optional files running, reran it. The INI files are in there. We've got a profile for it in Mod Organizer. I will not go over profiling. Gopher's done a great mod on profiling. I think everyone should understand how to make a profile. It is not the most tricky thing in the world. Our focus here was actually downloading and installing Tale of Two Wastelands. We have now downloaded and installed Tale of Two Wastelands. And it runs. And it works. Be happy, folks. And be ready for crashes and all kinds of instability because, again, it's an alpha, and you're taking 2 games that were never meant to be merged together and merging them together. This would be the equivalent of, I don't know. I can't really think of anything that would be equivalent to it. I mean, theoretically, it'd be like merging Oblivion and Skyrim, but you can't really merge Oblivion and Skyrim. You can take the assets of Oblivion and import them into Skyrim, which the various mod teams out there are doing. You can take the assets of Morrowind and import them into Skyrim. You can take the assets of Fallout and import them into Skyrim. And no, I'm not talking about some type of merger. It's, you know, there's people already out there who've heard the news about Fallout 4, know that Fallout, and have pretty much guessed that Fallout 4 is going to be built on a Skyrim engine. So people have already started, you know, taking the assets for Fallout New Vegas, the meshes and so forth, and transporting them into Skyrim so that when Fallout 4 comes out, a big part of their work's already done. But these mobs were never meant to be put together. It's a huge undertaking. Do not underestimate just how complex and crazy this thing is. But that's it, folks. There's nothing more else that I need to show you here in order to understand how Tale of Two Wastelands works. So with that said, I will stop this stream so that when I put it up on YouTube later, it doesn't have a bunch of excess junk on it. And then we will continue with something else.